I watched a few films at the Leeds Film Festival.
Oh yes.
The 29th, the film festival. No one knows. It's not Cannes or the Berlin Film Festival. But yeah, it's a film festival.
They show films at various locations around the city.
Yeah. But yeah, so the first film I watched there was the new Paolo Sorrentino film Youth. Yeah. So Youth is a film which has Michael Caines in.
Oh yeah.
Michael Caines. When you don't see Michael Caines in Leeds in films anymore, do you?
No, he's always supporting roles.
Yeah.
In fact, Michael Caines in every single film ever made.
Is it?
Every single film ever made.
Is it my favourite film, Jaws 4?
Oh yeah. Where he couldn't accept his Oscar because he was filming Jaws 4.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so Youth. It's actually not being released over in England, I think, till February.
Oh yeah.
Or January, so it can get an Oscar nominations. It's a very Oscar baity film in a way, and not in another way, which should become apparent when I explain the plot. So Michael Caines plays. He has to be pronounced
like that. Said it last time. Michael Caines.
Michael Caines plays a world-renowned composer.
Oh right.
He's retired and he's in Switzerland. He's in like a 5-star hotel in Switzerland, and one of the Queen of England's emissary comes to offer him a knighthood if he does a performance of one of his most famous pieces called Simple Songs, I think it's called. A piece that's dogged him throughout like his life. He was done like more complex stuff, but he's most famous for this really simple, easy to play piece of music. While he's there, he interacts with Harvey Keitel's like aging filmmaker, who's trying to make one last great film before he dies. Because obviously Michael Caines and Harvey Keitel are both in like their 80s now. Yeah. Michael Caines definitely is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about these two artists in this hotel, like trying to work out like the meaning of their art and before they die. Now this film sounds absolutely awful.
Correct.
From the description, it sounds like the worst kind of Birdman-esque, like, ooh, we're artists.
Artists. The tortured trials of the artist.
Yes, it's actually nothing like that. It's not like a boring, awful art piece at all.
That's good.
It's a really, really good film. It does not deserve. I think it'll put people off because of its borderline pretentious twee premise, but there's a lot of great stuff in it. Like I only watched this on like a lark. I was going to do something and it cancelled, and I thought, oh, that's on, I'll go see it. I was also actually aware of this because the Sun Kil Moon album that came out this year, Universal Themes, had references to it, and I'm a massive Sun Kil Moon fan, so I thought, oh, that could be good. Because there's loads of really weird, little surreal stuff in it. Like the guy from Sun Kil Moon, Mark Kozelek, is in it at one point, singing a song in sort of the around the waterfall in the bit of in like the hotel, and then his music plays over the film later on, giving it a weird thing like, was he there, was he not there? And like there's a really weird surreal bit, like, because Michael Caine's daughter's there, played by Raquel Welch from The Fountain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's there playing a character, playing Michael Caine's daughter. And then her husband leaves her for the Paloma Faith, the pop star, who's in it as like a parody of herself.
Okay.
So there's weird sort of bits between like what's real and what isn't. And Jane Fonda appears at one point, playing a character who's like meant to be Jane Fonda, but it's like a fictionalized version of her. But this is like the definitive sort of festival film. There's also a really great actual surreal subplot where there's a slight spoiler, but not really. It wouldn't impact anyone's enjoyment of the film. Paul Dano's in it, who is in every single sort of like Sundance film ever. You know Paul Dano.
Yeah.
I've only known him from There Will Be Blood.
Probably same actually.
Yeah, he's a lot of people hate him apparently because all he does is these like Sundance and award films and think he's like really pretentious and twee. He's really great in There Will Be Blood. He's an absolutely amazing performance.
Nothing to complain about, really.
Yeah, but he plays a tortured actor.
Oh.
And he's there. He's in this villa trying to research for a role, and like the whole film is about like he's researching for this role, but people know him for playing a robot in a mainstream film, and he doesn't like the fact that people know him for being the Birdman. He basically plays Birdman. Yeah, he doesn't like the fact people know him for being in this one mainstream film, and he's there. And then like, there's a really great bit where it plays off of that actually, where like this woman who's like a Miss Universe model comes up to him and like asks for some acting advice, and he sort of says like, "Oh, I'm too good for like, giving mentoring like a Miss Universe model," and then like and then it like the scene plays out as in he's wrong to say that. It's really good actually. It undercuts a lot of the really pretentious arty stuff. There are some bits that are really... I'll get to those later, but yeah, he plays this actor trying to research a role, and it turns out he's researching the role of Hitler.
All right.
And then like you get bits at the end where Paul Dano's walking around dressed as Hitler. It's a really weird film. It's hard to tell what's real and what's like a dream within it. It's sort of like it feels like Michael Caine's character is that's how it's pronounced.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. Oh, I tell you, Governor, it wasn't me.
I told you to blow the bloody doors off.
Yeah. It seems to be like all this stuff is happening as a metaphor for what's happening within Michael Caine's head. Like the young guy is like could have been him as a youth. Like he gave all his life towards his work, and a lot of the things that happen could be filtered through that. And it's got a lot of gently humorous stuff with him and Harvey Keitel. The pretentious stuff is actually more Harvey Keitel.
Oh, okay.
There's a really, really like laughable scene where Harvey Keitel is in this villa he's writing a film, but they don't have an ending. And there's these three screenwriters, and they're young. They're like in their early 30s, late 20s, and they're all like just sat around giving ideas about what the ending to his film will be, his last classic. And yeah, those bits are a bit. They border on twee.
Oh, okay.
Being a film about like, oh, it's so hard being an artist, but it's brilliant. It'll just come. Those bits with the Harvey Keitel bits. Harvey Keitel's absolutely amazing in the film. There's no vanity to anyone in this. There's a bit where Jane Fonda's in it, and she puts her hand on Harvey Keitel's face, and the shot is like her hand's like that, and his face is there. And you can see all the wrinkles on the back of her hand because she's in her 80s or something.
Yeah.
And Harvey Keitel's face is full of wrinkles and it's saggy. And you just think, God, most actors... Well, most actors wouldn't do that, would they? Like,
no, they wouldn't, no, correct.
Like, I watched an interview with... it was on Jonathan Ross's show, actually, with Faye Dunaway.
Oh, yeah,
at one point. And she wouldn't eat... She was wearing, like, black gloves.
Yeah.
To cover the fact that her hands had gone all old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean... there's a bit where Michael Caine gets like a massage, and he's just dressed in a towel, and you just think, yeah, God, there's no vanity to his performance at all. Yeah, so there's a lot to recommend about the film. The performances in it are great. It looks amazing. It makes really great use of the fact it was actually filmed in a 5-star resort. It's just a little bit, well, I suppose like I've not seen Birdman. But it sounds like that a film about... It
sounds pretty much like Birdman, yeah.
Yeah, it's a film about like looking back on life.
What trials of the artist?
It's more to do with like ruminations on aging than anything else. Like it's about a man who's at the end of his life, looking back on what he's achieved. Should he have put more time into his family, or should he have put all his time into his work like he did? And it never has any kind of I think the film also goes on a little bit long. Okay. It's only 2 hours. But I kept thinking near the end, this is the end. Oh no, it's not. This is the end. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Because it's one of them films where there isn't a plot per se. Things don't really happen. It's all about like the atmosphere and the individual scenes and like the ruminations on the themes. So there doesn't really need to be any kind of conclusion. But there were things in it like these kind of films. They'll have a scene which seems to sum everything up, but then it'll just keep going.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's too long. Sort of. I don't know, there's nothing in it that's bad. There's no you could really cut. But it just feels at the end like, oh, is that the end? No. Is that the end? No. Also, it's not really rewatchable very much. Because all it is it's just an atmosphere piece.
Yeah.
It's just there for you to watch it, contemplate aging and being an artist. and then to move on. But yeah, I would recommend watching the film when it comes. I think it's going to struggle to make any kind of money. Even though it's got Michael Caine, Britain's beloved actor, who has no quality control in his career at all. I find him a really weird actor. Like, I think the film plays off of the fact it's Michael Caine, workhorse actor who's been in like It's been like 100 films or something, and he just works and works and works. Yeah.
You ever seen a film he's in where like he? It's called Harry Brown.
Oh, the Chav one.
Where he's an old man going trying to beat up chavs or something like that.
That looks awful. I've never seen it. Is it rubbish?
I've not seen it. No.
But yeah, like it plays off the fact he's like legendary actor Michael Caines. Playing like a legendary composer at the end of his life.
Yes.
Ruminating. Like it wouldn't have as much emotional resonance if it wasn't Michael Caine and Harvey Keitel. But yeah, it's just a bit, I suppose a bit lightweight. I can't imagine what someone who didn't have any kind of concern... The thing I think about these films is like, I'd imagine what like a, you know, like, I don't want to say a normal person, but like just someone who has no care about art at all would think. Like, why do I care about what these are? Why do I care if Harvey Keitel can't finish his film? These people are like living in a 5-star resort in Switzerland.
That is legit. That is a legit criticism.
Yeah.
Like how am I supposed to care about these characters?
Yeah.
Just from like a general audience point of view, that is a problem.
Yeah. But that's what I think. Like, you know, like you know, there's no. I've not seen Birdman, but it's like.
I wouldn't have, because I was sat in the pack sim when I watched, and I'm thinking,
But even I don't care what Michael Caine. No, it's not Michael Keaton. Even I don't care about the trials of someone who's so rich. At least in Youth, there are at least artists, like people who aren't like, you know, like he's a composer. He's not like a guy who made like.
Well, in Birdman, he's like an actor who was only in like these superhero things and now he's trying to prove himself.
That sounds much worse. Youth, at least, I think, is more like it's set in an artistic mold, and it also doesn't have like the annoying like putting on a show. Because in Birdman, they put on the play of
something.
It's a Raymond Carver short story. Because I'm a big fan of Raymond Carver, so I know it is. But yeah, it's all about at least just their private lives, and it's legitimately a beautiful looking film. Like I've never seen like this like a hotel resort look as amazing, but not in a sort of not in a Paul Blart 2. Ooh, look at this resort way. Yeah. It you know it's a lot of
come to our resort in Las Vegas.
Like you know it doesn't. I don't even think it says where it is set, like the hotel branch. But yeah, really good film, really gentle. It's a nice. I would describe it as a Sunday watch.
Oh, Sunday. Okay.
It's not challenging in many ways. It's not like you're gonna like be offended by it. It's just a gentle roll around the countryside with Harvey Keitel and Michael Caine. It's an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Very good, but if you absolutely hate films about artists, this is probably gonna just drive you nuts. Like they actually had a thing at the Leeds Film Festival. They gave you a like a ballot, and you gave a film out of 5.
Oh, right.
They were doing an audience award at the end, and the woman in front of me while walking out, they went, "Have you got your ballot?" And she didn't understand. They explained it, and she went, "Fine," and she ripped the 1 and gave it back to him in like a huffy way, like because she hated the film.
Oh God.
But yeah, like Youth, Paolo Sorrentino, good film.